Hey everybody, it's Corona Story Time, and I'm Dave, and this week I posted the last post from a 7 blog post series on the Hulk. So I thought to celebrate, I would read from my first book, comic book character, Unleashing the Hero in Us All, which I wrote 16 years ago.
Whoa.
And I wrote about the Hulk in it, so I thought I would read that portion of the book. This is under the heading, Hideous Strength. Unlike any of his predecessors in the comic book universe, the Hulk explores the pitfalls of strength. He came to be as the result of a heroic act by a physically weak and ethically challenged scientist who was developing a weapon of mass destruction for the U.S. government. To save the life of a young drifter, Bruce Banner enters the weapons testing range and is exposed to gamma radiation. Now, since Bruce isn't killed by the bomb, we might simply conclude that it is a failure and he is a bad scientist. But the effect of the radiation on Bruce keeps us reading. We soon discover that Bruce, when faced with stressful circumstances, morphs into a primal, raging beast who gives near full vent to his emotions. So what do the people around him start doing? You guessed it, they consistently expose Bruce to stressful circumstances. Creator Stan Lee characterizes the Hulk as a sort of Jekyll Hyde character, but unlike Mr. Hyde, the Hulk is always sympathetic, always the protagonist. Predating revolutionary movements of the 1960s, such as the Black Panthers and the Weathermen, the Hulk served as guilty pleasure, occasionally sticking it to the government that persecuted him, and generally wallowing in righteous self-pity. As a rampaging, paranoid beast, the Hulk doesn't fit the description team player, but he has been attached to teams nonetheless. The Avengers and later the Defenders had to step lightly around the Hulk and channel his rage toward their own goals. But for a short time, the Hulk experienced the security and insecurities that coexist in a team setting. Still, for the most part, the Hulk has been a loner. In a universe given to exaggeration, the Hulk serves as an exaggerated example of the isolation that accompanies power and difference. In this respect, he is different only in degree from our Fritz Freiling Night Vision, from Peter Parker, from Superman, even from each of us. The Hulk is the favorite character of Brian, a friend of mine. Brian runs a successful business that, as a side effect, leaves him without direct human contact for hours at a time. Unmarried, he's watched friends and family members get married and have children, something he wishes for himself. He works, eats, and sleeps alone while others work, eat, and sleep together. Sometimes it drives him, well, a little crazy. Yet Brian has an enviable life when judged on its own merits. He controls the direction of his business. He enjoys a reputation as a gifted, ethical business person and as a generous, compassionate person. He has a diverse network of friends who are intensely and, I admit, intrusively devoted to his best interests. He is, at least in theory, free to go anywhere and do anything at virtually any time. Brian and the Hulk have this in common. They are, depending on your mood, free or cursed to roam the earth. Like the Hulk, we will continually face the temptation of interpreting our differences as weaknesses and wallowing in what we cannot be or do, even lashing out at convenient scapegoats. The American propensity to sue corporations for emotional damage over such things as making their food too fatty is a good example of pent-up frustration expressing itself blindly. Each one of us is one gamma ray bomb away from being the Hulk. But like Superman, when we come to terms with our limits and embrace our identity, we are free to experience the surprising strength that can flow through our weakness. The Apostle Paul understood this for himself and for his hearers. Not many of you were wise, he writes matter-of-factly in 1 Corinthians 1:26. Yet the Corinthians' lack of wisdom made it all the more remarkable that, as Paul goes on to suggest, they held the secrets to life and joy and peace. In fact, their foolishness, our foolishness, would shame the wise and bring glory to God. Therefore, he would later declare, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, for whenever I am weak, then I am strong. Many have wished that they were like Spider-Man or Superman or the Hulk or even the Apostle Paul, but few have wished to be like them in their weakness. Perhaps that's why so few have been so strong. That's it. Thanks for listening.